We can't just put it we can't put it on a vision board with no action. That's not how it works. We know that we can put it down if we want. We can make a plan, but a plan without action is just a dream.
That's it.
You need a strategy,
Need some structure.
and that's what we're going to break down next.
All right. So again, what we wanted to talk about is not so much the problem. It's what are the actions that are required of you to be able to accomplish the goal, and that is the American dream. And this live is about the American dream being dead, but I think the American dream has died many times. And what I'm talking about is evolution, meaning things are just changing. And so what worked yesterday may not work today. And that's not a bad thing. So if when things started, like if I was to look at my mom's generation, a single income stream in a household between mom and dad and the 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and the dog running around the yard might have been the goal. But when I was coming up, it was more like the Huxtables for me. It was a two-parent working household, and yeah, the 2.5 kids and so on and so forth. But as of today, as my kids, move into this space of being the next generation, what does it look like for them? Is it realistic? And if it's not realistic, then what are they supposed to do? And so that new model may look like multiple streams of income, everybody pitching in, everyone getting the boat together, and we row together. And before you jump out the boat to start your own journey on your own, you launch from a foundation of stability that we create by collaborating as a family. What's the harm in that? Matter of fact, would it allow us to get there faster? So, and here's one other thing about the American dream. If the American dream was you get a decent job, you work there for 40 years or however long it takes, you get that watch on retirement day and you ride off into the sunset with your pension. If that was the American dream, then what does it look like today? And can we get on the same page here? Was the American dream ever about wealth? Or was the American dream about comfort? Was the American dream about, you know what, I've leveraged my time as long as I could leverage it. Now I want to sit in this rocking chair and enjoy my retirement. Was it ever about what the next generation was going to do? But let's flip that a little bit. What do the wealthy do? What do the wealthy use as it relates to what their American dream looks like? Isn't it about accumulating more wealth? Isn't it about the next generation and what the next generation will have and be able to sustain what was left? So maybe we should alter the American dream to fit what the wealthy have always been doing. And that is focusing on generating wealth. So what we're talking about is absolutely a family bank. And I know when you hear family bank, what do you think about? Think about infinite banking. You think about Nelson Nash. I am not talking about Nelson Nash. I am not talking about infinite banking, although including a properly designed cash value life insurance policy might be a part of this process. But what I am talking about is an actual system, meaning it is a system where we function like a bank, and it may require all of us, hands in the center. And it's not a product specific. It is absolutely about a system, a wealth strategy, a strategy used. Matter of fact, what I love about this wealth strategy is this isn't new. This is not a wealth strategy that the Stidhams invented. This is a wealth strategy that's been going on a long time. But why hasn't it been a part of or ingrained in us as an American dream for us? Why? Like, who benefits from us not having the same expectations? And it's about generational. It's about putting a dollar amount in position so that it can transition throughout. And let's be clear, family. I get it. Maybe you're single and this generation is not really concerned about having kids. I understand that too. So maybe you're single. Maybe you don't have this family leverage that you're looking to have. Well, let's redefine what I mean when I say family. What about just circle of trust? Who are those people that matter? Who are those people that, you know what? I can't do this by myself. It's not realistic that I go down this path alone. Who are those people that I trust that we can pull together to build a bank so that we can survive together. Whether that's your roommates from college or the people that you went through basic training with, and you guys align and go, you know what? If we're all going to be successful, we need to do a better job of working together. So it's not necessarily about you and the kids that you have and your parents and grandparents. Maybe it's about your circle of friends, circle of people that you trust. And so what we want to dig into is, what are those 7 pillars that will allow us to achieve or accumulate or build that family bank? Like, what does that look like? And I was thinking that when we put this together, these were just about the pillars, but in truth, I think it does follow an order. And I think if you follow this order, if you do this in this fashion, it may actually work for you. But I don't think you have to. But I think as I go through the different pillars associated with how to build a family bank, I think you'll see a theme. And so the first one being cash flow. Like, if you've been on this channel before, if you spent any time with us, you know we have focused heavily on understanding what's going in, what's coming out, what's left over. Why? Because it's your cash flow that's going to allow you to build any type of bank. So maybe it's multiple streams of income. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's the truth. It's reducing spending habits. It's creating more positive cash flow by spending less. Like, I know that sounds simple, and I know it's not as simple as that, but it has to be a part of the process, because it's positive cash flow that's going to put you in a position to be able to generate and build wealth. And let's be clear, 61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So how do you solve that problem? How do you fix 61% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck? It has to be either I make more income or I reduce what I'm spending. It's not magic. Talking about cash flow, what does that mean? Well, in order to calculate your cash flow, you need to know your income, like what's coming into the household. And what you subtract from that income is your normal expenses. And when I say normal expenses, I'm talking gas, electric, cell phone. These are the bills that will never be zero. They will never go away. They may go up and down. They may fluctuate. They may get higher. They may be lower in the summer months or winter months or whatever it is, but they're not going anywhere. So when you take your income and you subtract the normal expenses, and then you subtract the debts. And when I say debts, I'm talking the minimums on those debts. I'm talking your credit card bills, your mortgage payment, your car note. These are bills that once you are done paying them, they go away. And so if I subtract if I subtract the expenses and debts, and it's the minimums on the debts, it's the if the Citibank bill is $100 a month, I know we like to pay an extra 200-300 with that check to pay it off and pay it down. I understand that. But if I'm asking you what's your income, or what is your cash flow, it's your income minus your expenses minus the minimums that you're placing on your debts, and that's how you come up with what that cash flow is. And why does that matter? Because it's that number. It's your cash flow that's going to help you get to a place of wealth. So if you understand your cash flow, and the other members of the party, the other members of the family, whether it's friends, whether that's cousins, whether it's mom and dad, whether it's the kids, doesn't matter the who. If we all understand what's available from a cash flow perspective, now we have a better understanding of what we can do with that cash flow to go generate and create more friends, go get more employees, go put that money to work and build compound interest. And the next stage or next pillar in this process is leverage. And we talk a lot about leverage on this channel. Leverage is just understanding, and well, it's not just leverage. Like, what do I mean by leverage? I am talking, what are those vehicles that you have available to you that you can put to work and use multiple times? And sometimes it's about leveraging time, meaning, you know what? I'm fresh out of college. All I have is my ability to work 40 hours a week. So you know what? I work 40 hours a week at my W-2 job, but then on weekends, I'm working an additional 20 hours for that week doing Uber or Uber Eats or whatever the case may be. Meaning, all I have at my disposal at this moment is the ability to leverage my time. Well, how about the other resources like money or credit or equity or cash value life insurance policies? Meaning there's a lot of places where leverage is located. It's understanding what's accessible to me today, and what actions do I need to take to put myself in a better position so that I have access to additional leverage tomorrow. And 90% of millionaires become so through real estate. But let's peel that back. It's really 90% of millionaires become so by leveraging other people's money. It's through the use of OPM. So understanding where that leverage, there's already a proven method that says understanding how to use leverage is a recipe to assist you in becoming wealthier than you are. And so when you're understanding and using debt as it relates to that, it's understanding which ones work in your favor and which ones don't. So again, leverage, that second pillar of how do we create that family bank, understanding where your leverage is located and how to use it. And even if that means I have none today, even if that means, again, I'm fresh out of college and all I have are student loans, what are the actions you can take to put yourself in a position so that you can? And again, where does that start? It feeds right back up to the cash flow. If there's no cash flow, how can you go get leverage? And the third one is asset. So once we understand the cash flow, it's positive. We've identified where leverage is located. Now it's a matter of using that leverage, getting multiple uses out of the same dollar. Now it's where do we put it? How do we put that cash flow to work? Or how do we use or leverage our debt tools like lines of credit or credit cards to be able to put that leverage to work so that our money can go make its own money? And what are those vehicles? Again, this is not rocket science. This is not, you've never seen this before. It's, what are those passive income producing properties I can purchase? What is that properly designed cash value life insurance policy I could pick up? Hey, can I leverage my self-directed retirement account to be able to use that to be able to personally generate and build wealth or add growth to my asset? Or maybe my self-directed 401k is going to purchase a rental property and I'm going to build and generate Roth-free profits inside of it. Like there's not an infinite list of items available. There's you can leverage your stock portfolio. I think crypto can be seen as one. I don't know, I would say that today, but I do see the value in where cryptocurrency can be another one of those vehicles that you can use to build and grow assets. But the moral of the story is, once you've freed up the cash flow, once you have the leverage in place, it's where do you put it? How do you put that money to work over time? From there, once that money is working for you, now we need to keep what we got. Once that money has been put in a position to go and generate more and recruit new friends and work for us, we need to make sure we don't lose it. When we're generating wealth, one of the biggest impacts to us losing it or not being able to transition it to another generation is things like bankruptcy. If 61%, notice this number right here, 60% of bankruptcies have medical related causes. Don't you remember another 60% number that we were just talking about? It was 60% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. So think about it. You're leaving your 40-hour-a-week job, you're paycheck to paycheck, and for whatever reason, you get into a fender bender on the highway headed home, and now there's an ambulance ride from the highway from that accident to the hospital. We are all, in a lot of cases, one medical incident away from our situations looking a lot different. So this number is not unusual. If 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, it's not unusual that the first emergency that hits that individual also throws them into a financial spiral. So what do we do about it though? We have to protect the dollars that we're making. So what does that look like? How do we protect those funds? Well, there's a few different ways of going about it. And I'll zoom in a little bit on this as well. But there's a few different ways to look at it. There's insurance, meaning I want to make sure that if something happens to me, my family's taken care of. And there's many different ways to leverage and use that insurance. We insure our home, we insure our boats, we insure our pets. Why not insure your income? What would it look like to be able to insure your income? There's legal structures. Hey, I've got this rental property that lives inside my 401k. What happens if the renter trips? Who's he going to sue? How far can he go? Do you have the right structure in place so that they can't pierce the veil, as they call it? They can't get beyond whatever that entity is that's holding that structure. HSAs, we don't talk very much about HSAs on this channel, but it's absolutely another leverageable vehicle if done right, and it can put you in a position to where if whatever that situation comes about, you have a tool accessible to you to be able to handle whatever that medical emergency would be. And then obviously it's the emergency fund. Now, is it possible to have that emergency fund sitting in some insurance-based product? Absolutely. But it's that emergency fund, and to me, it's really just more about being liquid. It's where is your money sitting and is it readily accessible? We talk a lot about a home equity line of credit. What makes lines of credit great is not only can you use the funds from them and pay them down like you normally would, but they're always accessible. It's liquid. So it's being able to pivot if you need to pivot. So it's that protection piece. And this is based off protection for today, meaning as I'm starting to build my family bank, as I'm identifying my cash flow, understanding where my leverage is located, putting my money to work, how do I protect what I'm doing today? But the next stage from that is how do we then protect tomorrow? Meaning, as the wealth is being accumulated, as the compound interest is taking effect, what is that process we put in place to make sure that we don't lose what we have if, for whatever reason, some incident was to occur, like a death? So, do you have the right trust in place to help you or assist in transitioning those funds to the next generation? Again, how do we protect for tomorrow? What are the actions that we take to be able to do so? What are those tax strategies to make sure that, as you know, I think I'm doing a great job in leaving my descendants this inheritance, not realizing the tax impact if things aren't structured correctly. Like I could be causing a step up in basis, which causes this tax burden that they can't handle. So we end up, the efforts that I thought I was doing in creating this asset that I'm passing on, all I did was create another burden that they have to deal with. So what is that structure that needs to be in place? And the succession planning piece. And this is so that, again, we can continue pushing this ball down, rolling this ball down this mountain so it can become a boulder. It's making sure that we're putting the right structure in place so that everyone can be fully taken care of. And the last piece to me, actually not last piece, second to last piece to me, as it relates to what we were talking about was protection for today. And then there's protection for tomorrow. And to me, when it comes to financial education, this is how we protect the culture. This is how we protect the future. This is how we make sure that whether I'm here or not, those who have the torch that are picking up the torch after me understand the steps to take. So when does that start? When does that education take place? Well, how do you involve your minor children into the process of bill paying today? Or involve your minor children in understanding how a dollar flows through your household today? It's the, I think we're going to talk about the boat later, but it's making sure that everyone is in the same boat. And what are those bits and pieces that those individuals who are going to carry this on after you? How do we engage them in understanding why this is important? And again, I think this is me speaking into a mirror because I think we have a similar issue in our own household. It's trying to break down and understand how do we involve them now so that if something were to happen or if something were to occur, they have the skills necessary to be able to continue to roll this boat forward, right? And then that ongoing learning or lifelong education, that's that generational piece. It's now we're building a system that allows us to pass on this history of knowledge from person to person. And I've shared this before, but it's been a while since we brought this up. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Meaning, if we don't protect the funds as we're pulling it together, or protect the structure and the legacy of moving it forward, and we don't educate those who are coming after us, we end up in this boat. 70% of wealth is lost in the first generation, 90% by the second. And I think there's two ways to look at these numbers. You can look at it as woe is me. Again, we can communicate the news without any action as to what you can do, or you can look at these numbers a little bit different. Did you know we are all 2 generations away from generational wealth? Two. Like, what does that mean for me? That means if I do this right, if I play my cards right, if I take the action required, I will get a chance to see my grandchild. I would get a chance to experience what it feels like for them to be born into wealth. We're not that far away. So if you didn't come from a wealthy family, you can make sure at least a wealthy family comes from you. The first step is understanding where we are and understanding what it's going to take. And again, this is not 1999. If you thought you could do it by yourself, you might need to rethink that. So it's understanding what is that circle of trust that I need amongst the individuals around me so that we can get to this goal together. Because this does not have to be you. There's structure that you can put in place to make sure that doesn't happen. And so ultimately what I'm referencing is something that we've all heard about often. That is the Rockefeller model. That is where we're absolutely involving cash value, properly structured cash value life insurance based products to be able to put money in a position so that it can grow and generate over time, and you drop those dollars into a trust with specific instructions on how wealth is disseminated and how things grow and what that compounding looks like over time. And from a Rockefeller perspective, those efforts, those pillars have allowed 150 plus descendants to be receiving the benefits of what that structure looks like. We can do the same. Again, we are 2 generations away from understanding what it looks like to be born into wealth. So what is required of you to get there? It's pay yourself first, starting today, somewhere secure, compound your money, and then you exponentially grow it. Like there's a mathematical equation that will tell you how to do it. And the last piece is, are we in the same boat together? Are we all focused on the same goal? Because this is absolutely a team sport. Are we aligned as a family? And again, let's redefine what family means. I get it. It may just be you and your dog or your cat. It's redefining what family means, because we may not be able to get there on our own, but we get much further, much farther, much faster if we go there together. So it's understanding that this is absolutely a team sport. And so maybe we need to transition what the conversations look like at the dinner table. It's less about how was your day to day, and maybe it's more about introducing some of that financial education. It's maybe less about stuff and things and understanding what are the actions we need to take to get money compounding for us. What are those vehicles we can put in place right now today? How can we leverage each other? And we didn't go into depth around that multi-generational living, but when it comes to family and making sure we're all aligned, maybe it looks like 3 generations living in the same household. Maybe it looks like 3 generations focused on the same goal, rowing the boat together in the same direction. The math is pretty simple. This is an exponential equation, meaning you have to start. The number one thing for you to do is get started. And this is something that takes time to be able to build. But what allows this compounding interest to become exponential is putting your money in a position to where it's secure so that you can grow and generate that wealth over time. So again, this is a very basic illustration of how generational wealth happens. It is not rocket science. It has to start somewhere. And as your money starts to make its own money and you pool other money together from the others that are in that family unit, again, family just meaning circle of trust, the people that you trust, this is what that looks like. It's exponential growth over time. And notice, what you don't see in this equation is loss. The first step is getting started. And yes, this is not easy. Like this is a difficult position to be in. There's a lot on my shoulders, your shoulders to just get this machine going. But it absolutely gets easier. And again, 2 generations away, that's not a long time. And it dawned on me earlier today when we were talking about the American dream. I am my grandmother's American dream. Grandmother, grandfather, both grandmothers, both grandfather. I am absolutely their American dream, meaning my grandmother she was actually tied with a rope to my great grandmother's hip while she picked cotton in the fields. So fast forward to this young man at 51, 52 years of age, I am absolutely my grandmother's American dream. That baton has absolutely been passed. So now we have a responsibility to do the same. Again, we are only 2 generations away.
That's right.
What wealth looks like.
And the responsibility piece, I mean, really, that's honoring.
Right. Absolutely. So quick recap, because I know I move fast. We've covered a lot. It's the pillars around creating a family bank. And, we tend to dig into a lot of detail. Our objective is to take each one of these and peel back the layers to understand what are those specific actions, like be very detailed into what are those specific actions you can take. Like cash flow, that's velocity banking. Leverage, that's home equity lines of credit, personal lines of credit, business lines of credit. Asset growth, it's where do you put it? It's MPI related strategies or secure compound interest accounts. It's whatever those assets are that allows you to generate and build wealth over time. Protecting your money, that's the vehicle. That's the vehicle that you're putting your money in so that it's not lost due to market risk, or not lost due to a renter getting hurt, or it's not lost due to some mistake made. It's making sure that structure is in place so that it doesn't happen. And then it's that long-term focus. It's trust, wills. It's making sure those dollars are sitting in a position to where they can't be impacted by whoever the president is, whatever Elon Musk did or didn't do, whether Doge is in place or not. We have a system in place that is protected from those types of things, and we have to keep the message going. It's implementing that structure so that education starts now, starts early, starts at its lowest foundation, and ultimately it's being in the same boat. It's identifying where the opportunities are and us rowing in the same direction to be able to hit that goal. Last thing I wanted to highlight, though, there is a threat that we haven't talked about, though. There is, I'll call it, one piece that if we don't pay attention to it, and just to be clear, it's not about taxes, it's not about inflation, it's not even about whether, who's president and what the markets are or not doing. This is a hidden threat that, gets talked about very little in not just our environment, just I think in general, we don't give enough credence to the impact of this hidden threat. Can you guys guess what the hidden threat might be? Well, stay tuned and let's discuss it.